Hi everyone, I hope that you're all doing well. Before jumping into this video, I want to thank you for your support, for being around, for helping to spread the message in your own way and one step at a time. Thank you to all those who gave their feedback. Thank you for your nice words. This channel has been a side project and now I am happy to see that it is slowly but surely finding its place in the world. As always, if you have questions or topics you would like for us to explore together, because I am not doing it, I'm not in the spotlight here, we are all learning together through our different interactions. Whatever you'd like to discuss, do not hesitate to reach out, do so through the comments or by reaching out to me directly through my email, which will be in the description below. Now that the formalities are done, let's begin with this video. We have often heard that our thoughts are powerful and that if we learn to harness their power, we could basically live a life in which whatever we want could just come into being through the proper use of our thoughts. Most of us here have grown up reading books such as Think and Grow Rich or The Secret. Most of us here have heard about manifesting. Most of us have dabbled with the law of attraction, and so on. For the luckiest of us, it's true that if we put in the effort, things do seem to happen. For the majority of us, however, attracting what we want into our lives is merely a dream, a frustrating fantasy. Yet, despite the fact that we have mixed feelings about this subject, deep inside of us we remain unsure because our thoughts do seem to have a peculiar relationship with our material reality. Sometimes we may think of a person and suddenly they call us. Sometimes we may have a thought about having a pizza and the person next to us tells us they'd like to have a pizza too. The examples are endless, and if we're here, we have experienced such strange events that indirectly told us there is more to life than just the five senses. One thing to understand is that the mind is akin to an antenna. It is always picking up and transmitting information. The main reason we're not always aware of this is because of the fact that most of us have storms of thoughts in our heads that keep us confused regarding the origin of those thoughts. So we assume they're ours, and because we do, we accept them as being true, when in fact, they come from our surroundings, from the collective, from deeper beliefs we have absorbed throughout the course of our lives and maintained as true in our subconscious mind. And as long as something is true for us, even if it's not a fact, and it is not a fact in most cases, we experience reality accordingly. I am introducing the subject from this angle so that you understand how you are already, whether consciously or not, painting reality with the colors of your beliefs. This is the first piece of the puzzle. If we want to understand the relationship between our thoughts and the material domain, we must see how all those beliefs we have accumulated throughout our lives shape our perception. Then, we must see how our perception dictates our response to the events we go through and how these responses create outcomes which we call our life. Secondly, science itself has proven that energy is everywhere and that it exists in infinite supply. This energy comes from different sources and passes through us. Without it, food and water on their own can't keep us together. Also, thought directs energy. This is a bit more advanced as a concept, but for those who have ears, let them hear. For those who can't understand, the seed will be planted and someday it will make sense. If we are surrounded and filled with energy and our thoughts direct this energy, what happens when we have limiting thoughts or beliefs in our subconscious, which, as said earlier, have been gathered throughout our lives? These thoughts, of which we are often unaware of, confuse the flow of energy, thereby limiting the odds of our success in manifesting our dreams. As an example, we may consciously want to become wealthy. At an unconscious level, however, we may have grown up in a modest environment. Our parents may have told us that we didn't have enough and that we should stick to the little we had. Our parents may have often been worried about the bills, about having enough food, about getting a job, and so on. these impressions, which we absorbed throughout our earlier years, and as a note, children's brain waves are slower, which means they behave as if under hypnosis and therefore take in everything they perceive deep into their subconscious mind, and which eventually turns into their ultimate truth, what is true for them, even though it's not always true. Now, these impressions we got from our parents, as is the example here, and surroundings, therefore created the limiting belief in our mind which says there isn't enough in the world, that we should stick to what we have, and that life is scarce. Now, consciously wanting to create a more prosperous reality for ourselves and yet unconsciously believing in poverty and scarcity are quite contradictory, to say the least. In terms of energy, you can see here that there is a conflict at play. And coming back to the law of attraction, or attracting a reality we would prefer to experience, you can see why, despite trying so hard, people eventually give up and return to their old routines. Now, this is more of a side note. Our circumstances do not define us. We go through such experiences earlier in our lives because they prepare us for the life lessons we came here to learn. Without poverty, as an example, we wouldn't be driven to experience richness and hopefully understand our life lessons, because in most cases, people do experience an abundant life after some efforts, the rags to riches archetype, without learning that true wealth is not only a material thing but also a spiritual experience. Abundance exists in many forms. Coming back to our example, from an energetic perspective, therefore, there is a problem. The limiting belief in scarcity we have accepted as being true, which came from our earlier experiences, but also from mainstream media, battle with our aspirations or our life lessons, because yes, those things we so eagerly desire and can't stop thinking about, more often than not, indicate a life lesson we are wanting to learn. Now that we've displayed the bigger picture, what do we do about it? The answer is obvious. As said, our limiting beliefs act as a filter through which we perceive and make sense of the world around us. According to this perception, we take action. And because these actions are often tied to a limited understanding of reality, they create limiting outcomes which make us feel cursed or trapped. The solution, therefore, is less about the world itself, less about ordering business cards and worrying about rental expenses or bank loans when we're still living with our parents, and more about looking into ourselves. What are the beliefs that hold us back? What are our most disturbing memories? What did we go through? What emotions do we fear looking into? What thoughts do we refuse to face? Most of the time we are disturbed by our past, and our compulsive behaviors are coping mechanisms to deal with this disturbance. Yet, in this disturbance lies great power. In accepting to look at these emotions and thoughts and these hurts, these fears, this guilt, we process our feelings, we heal limiting thoughts, and through the release of these burdens, we feel freer. Again, our circumstances don't define us. It doesn't matter if others call us a dreamer or if we're made to feel bad about ourselves for wanting more from life. As long as we refuse to settle, as long as we fight by choosing to face our demons, we overcome our limitations, and our life reflects this fact. This is how energy moves more freely, but also how our conscious intent becomes stronger. That's when people experience saying one thing and then seeing it manifest in their reality. That's when the universe keeps sending us signs and synchronicities that are exactly aligned with our current experiences. Such people could be called magicians, but really it's all basic mechanisms of creation, universal laws, and anyone can reach this level of mastery as long as the work is there. In you lies all the keys to your life's mystery. The reason why you're here. Your existence tells a story. Cherish it, look into it, and know that all the power you yearn for, which most people believe exists outside themselves, exists within. And share your story. Speak up. Stand up for yourself. I hope that you enjoyed this video as much as I did in putting it together. Again, thank you for being here and supporting this movement, at least algorithmically speaking. If you would like to be updated about the works I create, especially different forms of writing on spirituality, healing, and living as a sovereign being, I encourage you to subscribe to my newsletter to receive more exclusive content because writing remains my preferred medium of communication. The link will be in the description. It's a newsletter, it's free, you can relax. And secondly, if you would like to start working more proactively on releasing your limiting beliefs, healing emotional and mental wounds, and experiencing a life in which you feel in control and capable of creating what you want for yourself, let's have a human chat. Let's talk about it. And if I can help you, I'll tell you how. I'll put my email address in the description so that you know how to reach out. Anyhow, I'll see you next time. Blessings.